Good evening, every pony. Drata Arcana here. So I am redoing the stream from this Sunday because of the fact that I had forgotten to hit the record button when I was doing the stream with Living Silver. So I'm kind of going to go back through the stream that happened. Unfortunately, this video will be different from the actual stream. I immediately apologize for all of that. So please no but Drata comments. I had accidentally forgotten to hit the start record button on the stream from last night. I still want to get this video out there, so I'm going to kind of walk through the stream in a more abridged version this time to kind of talk about what we sort of talked about on that stream, and this video will be uploaded in place of the actual recorded video. I immediately apologize. I know that a lot of you were probably anxious to hear Living Silver on my stream and stuff. If you missed my stream this Sunday, I immediately apologize. This video might not accurately portray what we actually talked about, but I'm going to try to go through it and kind of approach everything kind of the same way of how Living Silver and I kind of went over everything. So I do apologize once again. Drata is sorry. I'm very depressed about it. I'm so sorry. Anyway, let me kind of just walk you guys through kind of the stuff that we talked about. So the first thing we talked about is about competitive versus casual is the Fluttershy Rainbow Dash effect. And it's so what it is that the competitive player is the Rainbow Dash. They have a loyalty to the game that is like unparalleled, and they're always wanting to be first. They kind of look after themselves, but they're willing to support other competitive players. And there's a lot of other stuff that went into on the stream that I might forget here, but so competitive players are a very loyal group of players to the game, and they tend to want to be the most awesome. They want to be the awesomest person. They want to be first in every race and everything. Meanwhile, you have Fluttershy is the casual player. They are the more quiet part of the game. They just enjoy playing the game with others, and they can be kind and polite and everything when it comes to actually playing their decks and stuff, and that is pretty much the big difference. So competitive play kind of started around Canterlot Nights for the game. Competitive play is generally, you go to a tournament. Competitive players will go to tournaments, and what they want to do is they want to win every single tournament. At least they want to try to win every tournament and everything, and they're gonna be in those tournaments. They're going to try to be first. They're going to play the deck that wins. They're even going to play test their decks a lot, and that's kind of more or less the competitive player. And we found that competitive players are generally going to look up every single tiny rule. They're going to read the comprehensive rules, which didn't really come out until later in the game's health. While the game had been originally designed not to be competitive, but it still created a competitive scene. Examples of competitive stuff can be seen on things like Coco, Gen Con, and everything, which Gen Con had the first Tier 3 event outside of Continentals for the first time in the game's history. But generally speaking, the competitive player is going to be at those tournaments. And that is more or less the competitive player. They're going to be wanting to win their games. They are going to build their decks that are going to approach things from different angles, try to counter as much of it as they possibly can. So that's more or less the competitive player, and Living Silver is free to comment on this video to get his 2 cents in if he so feels, but I'm just trying to go over kind of more or less what we talked about as far as the competitive player. Meanwhile, the casual player is that person that's always going to be like that soft yay. And Rainbow Dash is that competitive player that will sometimes look at the casual player and be like, huh? Well, the casual players, I find, love the game for its mechanics, its fun, and the people to play with, and they're not looking to always win. They're looking for that more friendly and exciting game versus the versus other sections of, well, the casual player will want to play the game more for fun. They enjoy the game. Maybe they're a new player and everything, and the new players, they're looking to get into the game for fun and to enjoy more about ponies, maybe play games with people, and we need to keep that in mind. As experienced or competitive players need to keep in mind that not everyone is going to want to play the top meta decks. And speaking of decks, let's talk about one of them. BRB is right now the competitive deck. It has an answer to everything. Whether that be changing out problems to stop aggro, whether that be removal, which is very heavy in the competitive scene right now. It's all about removal, all about getting rid of the friends and everything. Competitive play is going to have a deck like BRB, which literally answers any situation, and it does it well. It answers those situations perfectly. And plus there's a lot of data on it, and we know that it's a good deck. We know it works. We know it's successful, and it is a very competitive deck. Now, Silver Spanner is a event created by Entered Bugle, or eBugle, and Silver Spanner is a deck building tournament. And here's a deck list from King Utopia that was used in a Silver Spanner tournament, Silver Spanner 18, called I Love All the Six, where you had to build your deck around all of the main six. It had to have the name of one of the main six in the deck. And this is, I love King's decks because they are the prime example of a good casual deck. They are fun, unique, and enjoyable to see what he comes up with. I do enjoy his decks, and it's because of his limited card supply. Now, that is also something that, competitive players need to have access to all the cards. The casual players can just build with what they got, and they can enjoy the game that way. So, 6-color decks are usually really, really wonky, and 6-color decks are fun to play because they are very casual most of the time. They're not usually competitive because they're trying to go into so many colors. So they're just fun to play and fun to build around because you never know what a 6-color deck is going to do. An example that I mentioned on stream several times was the Rarity Pony Pirate deck that I developed. It's a combo, 6-color deck combo. So this is a good example of a casual 6-color deck. It's kind of aggro-ish, but it's fun. It's using the Applejack main, so it's not as fast, but this is obviously a deck based around power. Now, here are some examples of cards you probably shouldn't necessarily use in casual. Berry Punch and Orange Swirl and Belly Flop. These are two cards that when put together are defining the meta at the moment because it's 2 AT for 2 friends to be removed. That is some really high AT efficiency. I do not recommend using this in casual play. Now, granted, you can use it because they are commons and they are both commons, but as Living Silver and I discussed on stream, is that I don't think that these in and of themselves is broken unless you have things to support them, like additional removal, or, you know, you're able to do more with Berry Punch and Orange Swirl once it enters play, and that kind of stuff. Now, two cards that I would like to point out that I do not recommend unless they're either at 1 or they're, well, while they're at 1 or they're not, or they're by themselves. So these two cards, Staff of Sakonis and Changeling Mimics, are two cards that are really, really powerful for casual play. Staff is a little too strong for casual. I don't mind it at 1 in casual play because if you draw into it, great, it's easy to remove. But once you start increasing the number, it means that a casual deck will have to deal with more Staff of Sakonis's, and that's just not fun. When you have to dedicate all your resource removal to Staff of Sakonis as a casual player, because a lot of casual players might not use that resource removal to deal with Staff. So it's not fun when you're playing a deck that doesn't really have as much resource removal and you have to deal with the Staff of Sakonis. At 1 is perfectly fine for casual play. Changeling Mimics is just, it on its own is not powerful, but once you start playing things, as Living Silver mentioned on the stream, once you start using things to defend Changeling Mimics, things start to become a little bit more complicated. And it starts not being fun to play against. So my advice is that if you're building a casual deck, either don't build with Changeling Mimics or don't build so you can defend Changeling Mimics. And things like Sweetie Belle Resource Control, which is really running rampant in the meta. You got Chaos Control that runs this. You got BRB in the meta as well. And I will tell you that Changeling Mimics is just not a fun card to play against. Another two cards I'm going to mention are Selena Blue and Night Glider Overpowering. And Living Silver definitely talked about Night Glider Overpowering because when you use Night Glider Overpowering, having just 1, it becomes a single confront, 4 points, and then it becomes, with 2, it becomes plus 4 additional points on top of the other 2, so you're getting a 6-point bonus off the Night Glider. This is just not fun for anyone playing casually. Selena Blue is perfectly fine in casual play, provided she is not combining with other things that make her broken, like Moon Dancer, Page Turner, which gets plus 4 power just from Selena Blue. So Selena Blue you can use in casual play. Same with Night Glider Overpowering. Just know that these two cards are not going to be so much fun for your opponent. I'm pretty sure I covered everything that went on in that stream. Anyone that actually saw the stream is free to correct me as they wish. But for the most part, this is a quick 15-minute video to kind of go over what we talked about, to summarize what we went over during the stream. I do apologize to Living Silver especially that I did not hit the record button. But I will put this video out there as a supplement to kind of go over that stream just to make sure that the information is at least briefly covered. So that way the topic was approached and at least uploaded. So please watch this video. If you missed the stream, do not give me the Buttrada comments about how I should have recorded the stream. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, every pony, every creature. But this is to replace the actual stream. It was my mistake that I didn't hit the record button. I promise I will not make that mistake in the future. I might make it again, but if I ever make this mistake again, I will make sure to do this little video of 15 minutes to summarize what the stream went over in its place. So anyways, every pony and every creature, that's pretty much what the stream was about. So please forgive me. I will have this uploaded by tonight, so that way it approaches everything that we talked about in a brief 15-minute summary. And anyways, every pony and every creature, take care. Remember that if you're looking for any of my other content, you can go to Drada Arcana on YouTube. If you want to contact me via drada.arcana@gmail.com. If you'd like to message me over Facebook, you can go to Drada Arcana Gaming on Facebook. And as always, I have my Twitch channel. As always, guys, I'm sorry. This is a summary of what the stream was about this weekend. And I'll see you guys on the next stream. So long.